The silent strike, the arrogance of power. The Galactic Trade Federation had ruled the stars for 3 centuries. Their massive space stations gleamed like jewels against the cosmic void, symbols of technological superiority and unified alien civilization. From their crystal towers on the capital world of Nexus Prime, they controlled trade routes, dictated laws, and decided which species deserved a place among the stars. Humanity had once been part of this grand alliance. Earth's representatives had sat in the Federation's halls, their voices heard in the great debates that shaped galactic policy. But that was 50 years ago, before the Great Expulsion, before the Federation decided that humans were too aggressive, too unpredictable, too dangerous to remain in their perfect society. The official records claimed it was a mutual decision. The truth was darker. Earth had been framed for war crimes they didn't commit, their colonies seized, their people scattered. The Federation had wanted humanity's resources without humanity's troublesome independence. They got exactly what they wanted, or so they thought. The phantoms approach in the darkness between stars. Something moved that shouldn't exist. The UES Phantom cut through space like a blade through silk, its hole absorbing every photon of light that touched it. No sensors could detect it. No scanners could track it. It was a ship built from 50 years of anger, desperation, and brilliant human engineering. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on the bridge, her dark eyes fixed on the tactical display. At 35, she was young for a starship commander, but she had earned her position through skill, not politics. Her crew called her the Ghost Captain, and she wore the nickname with pride. Target acquired, reported Lieutenant Commander Jake Morrison from the sensor station. Kepler Station, bearing 27 Mark IV, 12 Federation cruisers in defensive formation. Alina nodded slowly. Kepler Station was a massive structure, a fortress disguised as a trading post. For decades, it had blocked human ships from accessing the Centauri trade routes. It was a symbol of Federation power, a reminder that Earth no longer had friends among the stars. Distance to target, 40,000 kilometers and closing, were still invisible to their sensors. Alina felt the familiar surge of pride in her ship and crew. The Phantom was humanity's greatest achievement, a vessel that existed in the spaces between dimensions. Its dark matter drive didn't just propel. It threw space. It wrapped the ship in a bubble of altered reality that made it invisible to conventional detection. Communications, open a channel to Admiral Chen. The holographic image of Admiral Marcus Chen materialized beside Elena's command chair. Even in his 60s, Chen looked like a man who could wrestle a bear and win. His weathered face carried the scars of a lifetime spent fighting impossible odds. Status report. Captain, we're in position, Admiral. Kepler Station is exactly where intelligence said it would be. 12 cruisers, standard Federation configuration. They have no idea. We're here. Chun's expression didn't change. Rules of engagement remain the same. Disable their weapons, cripple their engines, but minimize casualties. We're not here to commit genocide. Understood, sir. What about their distress signals? Let them scream. The louder they shout, the more attention we get. It's time the galaxy remembered that humanity still exists. The Strikalina closed the channel and turned to her weapons officer. Lieutenant Torres prepared the dark matter torpedoes. Target their command cruiser's weapon systems. Aye, Captain. Torpedoes, loaded and ready. The Phantom's weapons were as revolutionary as its drive system. Dark matter torpedoes didn't explode in the traditional sense. They created localized gravity wells that tore enemy ships apart from the inside. Surgical strikes that left hulls intact but systems destroyed. Fire. The torpedoes launched in perfect silence, invisible projectiles that bent space around them. They struck the Federation command cruiser with devastating precision. The alien vessel's weapons arrays simply ceased to exist, vaporized by gravitational forces that turned metal into cosmic dust. Chaos erupted in the enemy formation. Warning lights flashed across a dozen bridges as Federation officers tried to understand what was happening. Their sensors showed nothing, but their command ship was crippled, its captain screaming orders that no one could execute. Target the next 2 cruisers, Alina ordered. Same targeting pattern. 2 more Federation ships found themselves helpless, their weapons gone, their engines failing. The remaining 9 cruisers opened fire in all directions, shooting at shadows. An empty space. Their energy beams lit up the void like a deadly fireworks display, but they hit nothing. "Captain," Morrison called out, "they're trying to retreat. Let them run. We've made our point." Alina watched the Federation ships flee in disorder, their proud formation shattered by an enemy they couldn't see or understand. It was a perfect demonstration of humanity's new capabilities, a message written in disabled starships and wounded pride. The Council's emergency on Nexus Prime. The Federation Council convened in emergency session. The Great Chamber buzzed with confusion and fear as representatives from dozens of species tried to make sense of what had happened at Kepler Station. Senator Krolix of the Draconian Republic stood at the central podium, his scaled hide glistening under the chamber's lights. As the Federation's current chairman, it was his responsibility to maintain order, but order was the last thing on anyone's mind. "The reports are confirmed," Krolix announced, his voice carrying the authority of his office. "Kepler Station was attacked by an unknown vessel. 3 of our cruisers were disabled, their crews evacuated. The attacker left no trace, no energy signature, nothing our sensors could detect." Representative Zara of the Epsilon Collective raised her crystalline hand. "What of the human connection?" "The attack came from the direction of the Sol system." "Impossible," scoffed Ambassador Vex of the Centauri Union. "The humans have been isolated for 50 years. They lack the technology for such an attack." Kralix's reptilian eyes narrowed. "Our intelligence suggests otherwise. The attack pattern, the precision, the restraint shown in avoiding casualties, these are human characteristics." The chamber erupted in debate. Some representatives demanded immediate retaliation. Others called for investigation. A few, the wiser ones, suggested that perhaps the Federation had made an error 50 years ago. The debate was interrupted by an urgent communication from the Central Command. A message had been received, broadcast on all Federation frequencies. The sender's identity was unmistakable. The flag of United Earth, humanity's old symbol. The message was brief, delivered by a man in a crisp military uniform. Admiral Chen's face filled the chamber's main display, his expression calm but determined. "People of the Galactic Trade Federation," he began, 50 years ago, you expelled humanity from your alliance. You claimed we were too dangerous, too aggressive, too unpredictable. You were right about one thing: we are dangerous, but only to those who threaten our people and our freedom." The chamber fell silent. Every representative watched Chun's words with growing unease. Today's demonstration at Kepler Station was a reminder that Earth still exists. We have not forgotten the injustices done to us. We have not forgiven the lies told about us. But we are not here for revenge. We are here for recognition. Chen leaned forward, his eyes seeming to look directly at each viewer. The galaxy has changed. Technology has advanced. The balance of power has shifted. You can no longer ignore us, isolate us, or dismiss us. We are here, we are strong, and we demand to be treated with the respect we deserve. The message ended, leaving the chamber in stunned silence. The implications were staggering. If humans had developed technology capable of attacking Federation ships without detection, what else might they have accomplished in 50 years of isolation? The Admiral's plan. Deep beneath the surface of Luna, in a command center that officially didn't exist, Admiral Chen studied the reaction to his message. The hidden base was humanity's greatest secret, a military installation that had been under construction for decades. The Federation is in chaos, reported Colonel Sarah Martinez, his intelligence chief. Their military commands are issuing contradictory orders. Some want to attack Earth immediately. Others are calling for negotiation. Chen nodded. Fear makes people stupid, but it also makes them cautious. They won't act rashly, not until they understand what they're dealing with. And when they do understand, then we'll be ready for them. The Phantom was just the beginning. Project Darkstar is nearly complete. Martinez raised an eyebrow. You're talking about the fleet. 12 ships, each more advanced than the Phantom. Humanity's answer to 50 years of exile and humiliation. The Federation wanted us gone because they feared what we might become. Now they'll learn that their fears were justified. The hunt begins meanwhile. The Federation wasn't sitting idle. Fleet Admiral Kors of the Tau Ceti Defense Force had been given emergency powers to deal with the human threat. He was a veteran of a dozen campaigns, a tactician who understood that unknown enemies were the most dangerous. Deploy deep space sensors along the Sol system's borders, he ordered his staff. I want to know about every ship that moves in human space, and increase patrols in the outer colonies. If the humans have one invisible ship, they might have more. His chief of staff, a young Andromedan named Lyra, looked up from her tactical display. Sir, what if this is just the beginning? What if they've been preparing for war all along? Kors's expression hardened. Then we'll give them the war they want. But first, we need to understand their capabilities. Send a diplomatic message to Earth. Request negotiations. Sir, if they want recognition, we'll give them a chance to talk. But we'll be ready if talking fails. Alert the Third Fleet. I want them positioned for a rapid strike on Earth's orbital defenses. The response? On Earth, in the rebuilt halls of the United Nations. President Sarah Kim received the Federation's request for negotiations. At 48, she was humanity's first leader to deal with the aliens from a position of strength rather than desperation. They want to talk, she told her cabinet. After 50 years of silence, they suddenly want to negotiate. It's a trap, warned Defense Secretary Robert Hayes. They're buying time, positioning their forces for an attack. Of course, it's a trap, Kim replied, but it's also an opportunity. Admiral Chen's demonstration worked. They're scared, and scared people make mistakes. What do you want to tell them? Kim smiled, the expression both diplomatic and predatory. Tell them we accept their invitation to negotiate, but the talks will be held in neutral space and will bring our own security. How much security? Enough to make them think twice about trying anything stupid. It's time to show them that humanity doesn't back down from a fight. The trap is set as both sides prepared for negotiations that neither trusted. The stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the galaxy. The Federation believed they were dealing with a single ship, a lucky strike by desperate humans. They were wrong. Captain Vasquez received new orders from Admiral Chen. The Phantom would not be alone in the darkness. 7 sister ships, each invisible to enemy sensors, would take positions throughout Federation space. Project Darkstar was moving to the next phase. Crew Alina announced over the ship's communication system. We've struck the first blow in humanity's return to the stars. But this is just the beginning. The Federation thinks they can negotiate from a position of strength. They're about to learn how wrong they are. In the depths of space, humanity's ghost fleet moved into position. The Federation had expelled them once, thinking they were too dangerous to remain. Now they would discover that 50 years of isolation had made humanity far more dangerous than they had ever imagined. The galaxy was about to change, and the Federation would never be the same. The Council's reckoning, the negotiation, gambit, the neutral meeting point, was a desolate system on the edge of Federation space, chosen specifically because it held no strategic value to either side. The abandoned mining station orbiting the system's dying star had been retrofitted with diplomatic facilities, a temporary haven where ancient enemies could pretend to seek peace. Fleet Admiral Kors arrived first, his flagship surrounded by Federation vessels. The show of force was intentional, reminder that the Federation still commanded the most powerful military in the galaxy. His ships formed a defensive sphere around the station, their weapons powered but not targeted. Any sign of the humans? Kors asked his sensor officer. Nothing yet, sir. Our deep space arrays are detecting normal background radiation only. Kors frowned. If the humans had truly developed stealth technology, they could already be here, invisible, and waiting. The thought made his skin crawl. 3 hours later, a single ship appeared on the edge of the system. It was sleek and silver, clearly human in design, but unlike anything in Federation databases. The vessel approached slowly, broadcasting diplomatic codes and requesting permission to dock. That's not their stealth ship, observed Commander Lyra. This one's fully visible. Because they want us to see it, Kors replied. The question is why. The ambassadors arrive, Elder. Human delegation consisted of 3 people. Ambassador Rebecca Tournay, a former Federation diplomat who had been on Earth during the Great Expulsion. Dr. James Parker, a physicist whose reputation preceded him, and Colonel Marcus Webb, a military advisor whose presence sent a clear message. Ambassador Thorne had aged well in the 50 years since the expulsion. Her silver hair was pulled back in a severe bun, and her blue eyes held the cold fire of someone who had witnessed injustice and never forgotten it. Admiral Kors, she said as she entered the station's main conference room. You look exactly as I remember you. Ambassador Thorne, I had hoped we'd seen the last of each other. So did I, but here we are. The conference room was a study in tension. Federation representatives sat on one side of the polished table, their various species united in their wariness. The humans sat across from them. 3 people facing down the representatives of a dozen worlds. Senator Krolix, still serving as Federation chairman, called the meeting to order. We are here because of the unprovoked attack on Kepler Station. The Federation demands an explanation. Thorne smiled coldly, unprovoked. Your ships were blockading human trade routes, preventing our merchants from accessing markets that were once our right. If anything, we showed remarkable restraint. You have no rights in Federation space, snapped Ambassador Vex. You were expelled for good reason. Yes, Let's discuss those reasons, Thorne replied. The Federation accused Earth of war crimes we didn't commit. You planted evidence, bribed witnesses, and manipulated the vote, all to steal our colonies and resources. The room erupted in protests, but Thorne continued. We have proof. 50 years of investigation, documents your own people leaked, recorded conversations your leaders thought were private. The truth has a way of surfacing. The revelation DR. Parker activated a holographic display showing classified Federation documents. The evidence was damning. Communications between Federation leaders discussing the framework, financial records showing bribes paid to witnesses, even video recordings of the planted evidence being staged. This is fabricated, hissed, but his voice lacked conviction.